Boom.
Hello, good evening. Hello,
Good evening.
everybody. Woo, clear my throat.
I'm Flux Neo.
I'm Tamara Neo, and this is Neo Mix Live. So thank you for joining us.
Yeah, we had 2 weeks off.
At least.
No, I think it was 2 weeks.
Was it 2 weeks? Okay.
Was it 2 weeks? I think it was 2 weeks. I know 1 week we were what you would
Back
call...
up in VMI.
Well, we were at VMI. We were doing parent weekend there. Actually very fun, very cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely and delightful. And I think for our daughter, she appreciated having a little bit of a reprieve from the day-to-day.
She didn't want to get out of the truck at the end of it. She's like, let me just sleep here just 5 more minutes.
5 more minutes.
You know that 5 more minutes thing in bed? Now it's in the truck
Yeah.
waiting to drop her back off.
But she did just fine.
And she's doing well.
Yeah,
So
very
we're
well.
thrilled.
And then the week before, you know what? We actually, as human beings, occasionally hit walls. And I think it was one of those weeks where it was just like, I would get up in front of the camera and just kind of like stare and sigh.
Can you imagine him not having words? It happens occasionally.
It does happen occasionally. Thank goodness it's not the norm, though.
Yeah.
So it'd be actually, I think, disastrous. But having an active mind means that you're always interested in interesting things and willing to...
Curiosities.
willing to explore. So today's show, I think we've kind of narrowed it down to a couple subjects, actually. We've been in this rhythm of doing 3 different topics for a lot of the shows, and then we pivoted on to 2. I think tonight's just 2 again.
Tonight's just 2, and it doesn't mean
It's
that there
not
won't be
just
truth.
2.
Yeah, well, it's good too. It's
Yeah,
good too.
very good too.
But
And
it's not just the pattern. I just think it's important that this always feel fun, natural, upbeat, and not feel like a chore. The second it feels like a chore, we're gonna be in trouble. So for me,
I don't know. Usually the people who have their YouTube experience turning into a chore also have bank accounts that warrant them sitting there saying, you know what, I get to be creative today. So I don't mind if this became a chore.
okay.
Oh, another show to our 200,000 subscribers. Oh, gosh, what are we going to do today?
I got another suggestion on. Remember, we are looking for suggestions
Oh, yeah.
to
Actually, I'm
raise our
interested.
subscriber
Yeah.
number. So if you're watching this, hit the subscribe button and click the little bell to get notifications of every time we post, because we do these on Fridays, but then I post during the week
Sure.
clips out of this. So you can watch the whole show or you can just watch little clips. Either way.
What was the suggestion?
Oh, yeah. It was. Oh, somebody suggested I come cook for them at their house. I was extremely honored that somebody would even suggest that as a prize. But
There was no input about what that would mean for me. Am I invited
I'll
to
bring
come?
you leftovers. That was from Miss Brown, so thank you very much. It was very creative. And then actually another one of our followers had another suggestion about pulling from each 100, that each 100 have some sort of a gift. And I thought, well, that's kind of a good
Each
idea.
100? Like
Yeah,
every time
like
we have
right
a
now
new
we're
100?
at 158, 160, something like that. So when we
Okay.
hit 200, and then when we hit 300, so that there's, motivation to keep
Incremental.
finding more people.
Yep, little bit.
I don't know.
Okay.
So we're still deciding. We will come up with something.
Yeah, the cooking one I'm a little reticent about because that means I may not get a fresh meal.
Can't have that happen. No.
But regardless, it does kind of segue into something that we do talk about and have done segments on. Tamra likes to travel around, and we're actually kind of in this unique position because we love the region that we're in, but more importantly, we're originally from out west. Both of us are. And so even though we've been here for 15 years now?
Long time. Probably
Yeah, I think
more than that.
No, I think we're at about the 15-year mark.
No, well, yeah, 15 and change, because
Yeah.
our daughter was just barely born, or she was like 6
Which
months
one?
old.
Our middle.
Our
Yeah.
16-year-old.
Yeah.
So we've been here for about 15 and a half years.
Sure. So, point being, though, is that even though we've been out here, everything still is kind of fresh, new, and interesting to us because we didn't kind of develop a real orientation for the area other than what we've gone out and explored ourselves naturally. So, little things that might just be kind of, I don't know, either boring or not really feature filled for someone who's grown up here and is used to things. For
We're
us,
oohing and
it's like,
awing.
ooh, what is
Look
that?
what I found.
So we feel like perpetual explorers here. Well, what Tamara's done is taken our love for coffee, which we've talked about extensively, and married it to our own personal interest to one day actually open our own coffee shop. It's now become this kind of little adventure to explore every little nook and cranny of any town she heads into to find fun little coffee shops.
Every time we go traveling anywhere, even if it's only just 100 miles or less, I'm like, there's got to be a new coffee shop someplace. Let's see if something's coming up.
Coffee.
Oh yes, and they are. It's really fun to see in this region a lot of just independent minded folks who want to step out and do their own thing, and they set up these unique little coffee houses, and every one of them has a wonderful and different character. So I've got 3 tonight to show you, but I'm going to make this kind of a regular thing because I get to go around and film more coffee shops. Maybe someday I'll get a free cup of coffee out of it, but even if I don't, just the joy of seeing what they've done and how they've, put their own little twist on their own little coffee house. It's been really, really fun. And there's 3 good ones tonight. 2 which are easy for folks immediately in this area to get to. One which is a little bit of a drive if you're going to go to Charlotte Airport or Greensboro Airport. This is where you want to stop on the way.
The thing that I will add as a bit of an anecdote here is the personality. That's, I think, Tamara's prepared a little video. I think the fun thing is to look at the personality of each of the coffee shops. You really kind of see a part of the owners in each of them, but also they kind of bring out just distinct little experiences for you there, because it is often the case that a coffee shop will draw in different crowds of people from the community. So if you're in a community that you like for some reason, you definitely want to explore the coffee shops because you really get a great snapshot of not only the town, but kind of the eclectic mix and ideas that people have that, they obviously want to share, but, more importantly, enjoy coffee over.
And if you've got a cute coffee shop in your town, send me a message. Let me know. I'll come visit. I'll find a reason to come visit.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So here's Tamara's little menage of fun coffee shops.
Menage. I've got to go look that one up. That's a great word.
Okay, menagerie.
Menagerie, I know. Menage may be a word too.
Well,
most of the things that come out of your mouth are wordy words. We're going to make a t-shirt that says wordy words.
Okay, and on with the video.
All right.
Oop, that's
wrong video.
There we go. It'll come to us. I don't know what its beef is with me.
Maybe
here.
we'll be talking about Vespas first.
No. This is what you call your age-old technical difficulty. But
Okay.
I'm gonna get this. Let's
All right. Very good. I come here pretty regularly, don't I?
Ma'am, I knew when you pulled in what we were doing.
is on the right.
Good morning. How are you?
So have you been to Wilkes?
No.
We're in Wilkes. We started there in 2006.
Are you one of the owners?
I am. Started in 2005 in North Wilkesboro, which is our cafe.
Yeah.
And then we started, and in 2012 we opened a drive-through in Wilkesboro on Highway 421.
Very
And
nice.
we're also in the community college, and we're also up in right across the street from the App State campus in Boone
Yeah.
on West King Street.
So
So this is our fifth location.
your fifth. So which one was your very first?
North Wilkesboro, 2005.
2000.
16 years.
What made you decide to do this?
Just the passion for coffee.
Good morning. How are you? Good.
you know,
Tell me that's not
there's
great.
the Friday
Live
night.
TV.
There's the Friday night
Thank you,
portion.
Joseph. Thank you, Kim. Thank you, everyone.
This is why you circle back and watch our nice, cleaned up, edited versions after the fact.
That won't be part of it.
Yeah, no, it won't. But thank you. This is the nice part about having an interactive live stream.
We have
and I'll
very
blame
expressive faces too, so it must have been absolutely hilarious to watch.
So I get to circle back onto this just a
what
little
were we
bit.
just talking about?
But I was talking about
you
just
remember?
the personality
Yeah.
of having these coffee shops and the fact that the owners are directly and personally invested in them. You know, if you go to a big franchise or, you know, big corporate coffee shop, you lose this. Whereas in the alternative, if you go to small community coffee shops, the owner's personality, what their interests are, what they want to promote about their community are all on display. And so it becomes this kind of fun exchange, not just of ideas, but, and this is kind of where I was before we recognized you didn't hear anything I said, is the fact that it's a kind of an effort in self-discovery, because you learn how to be, you learn how to listen, you learn how to take in things and reflect on them, all of which are just kind of useful life skills. But for me, the forum where I learned all of that, most importantly, was being in a coffee shop where patience is rewarded, because you really can get into some depth of thought and perspective. And, you know, obviously, you know, the coffee component is its own layer of consideration and appeal.
We were also talking about the comparison between the concept of a bar, a local bar, versus a coffee house, and how much more accessible a coffee house is, just purely because you can bring people of any age. But the concept, there's a word in German, Stammtisch. It is where the local pub would have typically a round table, and all the men in the community would come down, have their beer, and solve the community's problems. And that was the Stammtisch. And I think that today's coffee houses are kind of just that. They are the Stammtisch of American culture. And then I was thinking about there's another connection that immediately is the concept of, you know, you want to go someplace where everybody knows your name. I guess what was that? Cheers, I think that was.
Cheers, you're dating yourself, but that's all right.
Yeah, that's okay.
I know what you're talking about.
I think everybody knows how old I am, so we'll just skip right over that one. But listen, these places that I go, when I go as consistently as I do, they get to know me. And it's so nice that the one place, Back of the Dragon, buddy, she sees my car pull in, she starts the steam. She knows exactly what I'm getting, or pretty close to what I'm getting. Mm-hmm. And I'd say it's probably the same at actually both of those places that I went. You know, the one in Elkins I don't get to quite as much, because it's you know, it's where I hit when we're driving to the airports. But I hit it coming and going.
I think what we were getting on about is really kind of the accessibility. The fact that you can take your kids, you can take your family, everybody can participate in it, everybody can find their own way with it, and it's an environment that you can truly make your own. And I, at least personally, don't know a lot of other social forums. You know, restaurant, you know, I'm a big eater. I love going to a restaurant, but there's a process to it. You know, you get your appetizers, you get your meal, you talk, but you're inhaling food, you know, a good portion of the time. I'm inhaling food a good portion of the time.
I'm eating it and enjoying it.
You know, as soon as you're done, they're like dessert, you know, coffee, refreshments.
Out the door.
Out the door. So it doesn't have this kind of relaxed atmosphere about it.
The slow pace, the pace of I can stay until I'm ready to not be here at the moment.
Sure,
you know?
Sure. So I think it's something that beckons, at least something in my heart, and is appealing. And I think part of the fun, like I said, is just seeing how other people express that experience in their community. So
yeah, very much so.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. But we talk about community and we talk about fun things to do, not just in the region. The segment I wanted to kind of pivot onto is one of those things that it was kind of a negotiation to get the ball rolling at the outset. My wife has this thing that she wants me to like stick around. She doesn't want me to be dismembered or killed off anytime soon, which I guess
At least
is a
until the
good
kids are through
sign.
the college and they have their first house. That's kind of my goal line. Is get
That's the
everybody
standard.
out the house through the college and have their first
So
house.
in the
then
future,
you can do.
I can go maim myself.
Yes.
But the point is that we had a bit of a negotiation, but what I'm getting on to is scooters. We live in a region that's very well known for its roads, and we attract motorcyclists of all types. Those that love aggressive sport riding, those that love touring, those that love cruising.
Auto clubs too. I mean, the roads out here
Automobile
are
clubs.
really well known.
Yeah, we have just beautiful, stunning vistas, beautiful, stunning mountains, as well as just amazing roads that for people that love driving, love riding, it's some of the best in the country, and it attracts people from all over the country. I, though, took a kind of a different tack than what you usually see. And it's driven by my own personal background. Back in the early 90s, so as to date myself, I got into kind of scooters, but I was too poor to actually own one, so I'd talk with buddies, and if they let me ride theirs, I'd make the most of it. And so in a city, you learn how to ride a scooter. Wasn't licensed, but,
Details.
little thing, but you do get some experience, and I fell in love with Piaggio Vespas. Piaggio's an Italian company. They've been making Vespa scooters now, I don't know, since post-World War II, in essence, and they're just their own little cultural phenomena. People who may not know what I'm talking about, we'll get into the details of it, but the point is that they are in Europe very, very popular. In the States, much less so, because the cities and the distance to go from point A to point B in European countries, it's just much more accessible. And so having a smaller, more compact, less powerful two-wheel ride is wholly sufficient to get you to where you need to be. When you come to the United States, where we have space, we have big, huge interstates and long stretches where there's little to nothing other than just the natural environment around you. You want a big, powerful bike that allows you to travel distances. But because we're kind of at the place that other people come to, why
And because
not
I
have,
wasn't down for the motorcycle
yeah,
at this point
motorcycle,
in our
yeah.
lives.
Because we're already at the place that other people are working to get to, I don't need really a huge, powerful bike. I got sufficiently powerful that both my wife and I can ride happily together and enjoy some wonderful time together. But main point is that scooters are definitely a much more accessible option for people. Often financially, they're more accessible. Speaking of the legal side, if you are convicted of repeat DUI offenses, you can ride a scooter of a certain cc, 50 cc or less, without a license. So there's all kinds of redeeming benefits. But let me kind of get into the details of what I'm on about here. And I'll show you just generally what we're talking about. This is
So pretty.
a Vespa. And this
Boy,
one
that looks
isn't,
like ours.
well, yes, it's not specifically mine,
But it's,
the same exact one that I have.
Color, style.
So, just to kind of give you a little
Cute.
sense, this is Piaggio's 2020 Vespa. It's a GTS 300. It's called a SuperTech, and I'll get into why. But part of why the shape helps to define what a Vespa is, you look at it, and it looks like the tail end of a wasp. So Vespa in Italian means wasp. So that's where the name comes from. But some of the things that are rather fun and interesting about having something like the Vespa, you have a very different ride to a scooter versus a motorcycle because of the wheel size, because of the height at which you're sitting, and your overall posture. It's almost like you slalom through the turns and the roadways versus kind of motorcycles. You'll do more of a lean. You do lean some necessarily on a Vespa or any scooter for that matter, but your overall posture is such that you it's a true cruising experience that I at least find to be relaxing. But more importantly, and I'll get into some of the specs here.
This is my posture on it.
Yes, this is her posture. Mine's a little more like this. But when you look at what is going on with the Vespas, you have a smaller capacity, two-wheel bike, if you will. The one that I have here, let me move this down, the 2020 Vespa GTS SuperTech 300 HPE. Lot to say. At the end of the day, it's a tried and true Vespa. But these are single cylinder 4-stroke units. They're very quiet, very smooth. They don't rumble. They aren't rustling you. They aren't shaking your spine. They're liquid cooled. They have an electric start. They're very much a modern device now. For that purposes, they take premium fuel. Get 73.4 miles to the gallon in optimal conditions. You put 2 grown adults on it, that'll shave down some. But nonetheless, you have great range on it, 2.2 gallons. So, even on the best day,
we just went
for
and
us,
went and went.
Let's say we're cut down to maybe 110, 120, miles as far as range. Well, in our region, goodness, that'll take you. Yeah, that'll take you everywhere that you would want to be freely.
Now we've got a question about the cost. What's the cost range? Low end and then tricked out all the way range.
Well, I think a base model, and mind you, they're doing this new GTS SuperTech line, and I'll explain here why they call it a SuperTech. Let me actually go ahead one. The model that I'm working with here, as you can see, it actually has an LCD screen. So the SuperTech is the highest end version of the 300cc Vespas. The reason why I like this also, and the year that I got it, 2020, was the first year that it was available in the United States. The typical and traditional Vespas have a mechanical, speedometer, gauges, things that you would, traditionally expect to see. The cool part about having the LCD screen is that you can toggle through, get different information while you're cruising, but additionally, and this is the part that I thought was kind of fun, is you can sync it through Bluetooth with your phone. And that's very common on cars.
And your headset.
Yeah, but to actually be able to address that with something like a scooter where I can see what music is playing, I can, as far as directions, when my system is giving, or my phone, I should say, is giving me GPS instructions, those actually show up in the LCD screen down at the bottom. So, it helps keep the rider focused where they need to be. Obviously, to be safe, you need to be looking out ahead of you, but you don't want to be doing a lot of head checks or looking down at your phone while you're riding, particularly because you're a little bit more exposed on a scooter or any motorcycle than you would otherwise be. But this puts a lot of information. You can even answer calls while you're riding. So for us, we actually have earpieces and microphones inside our helmets that allows me to take calls while I'm riding, allows me to listen to music, allows me to communicate with Tamara. So some fun stuff, but by being able to have a little additional technology embedded in the scooter itself, you actually can just, I think, have a more satisfying ride. Now, that was a long way to answer the question.
I was going to say, circle back.
The question is price point. So from a base model standpoint for the SuperTech, you're talking a $7,500 bike. Now, when you get into accessories, the fact that it has that little VESPA on it, you pay. Oh.
You want a silver little mirror? Cha-ching! You want a funny little mud flap? Cha-ching!
You pay. To where I think by the time mine was rounded out, I think we came in just shy of 10. Yeah, just shy of 10. It's paid off though, so it's all ours. But regardless, and that actually gives me an opportunity to point out something.
That's not bad, Joseph. You're as bad as my husband.
Well, mine is lovely, and I actually let me pull
really
up
pretty.
this image here. This is not mine, but it was nice because it was a ready image for me to reference. I actually have that little storage unit on the back of the bike, and as you can see, what's integrated into it is a backrest. So it allows Tamara to be on the scooter behind me, and she can relax. She feels safe. She feels secure. If I accelerate quickly, she doesn't have that sense of like, oof.
I'm going to fly off the back.
Correct. That is a fixed
and
unit.
this thing can accelerate.
Yeah,
there is
this is
no problem getting well up to speed.
Yeah, you may think, oh, this is just a putt-putt little ride. No, we are two full and complete adults.
Nice way of putting
And
it.
you put us on this unit, and we're up at 65, 70 miles an hour, lickety split. Very stable and secure ride. It's actually very impressive. But also by having that additional compartment, we can go on a ride. We can buy some, fun
Go up
little
to Burke's
snacks, some
Garden,
treats,
get a few things from
take
there.
things with us, throw them all in there, and it allows you to not have to worry about having an additional backpack or things of that nature. Also, what's nice about this, you can see these little silver things kind of mid body down towards the bottom. Those actually pop out and are where the footrests are. So they're cleanly integrated, very smooth. Some of the accessories that I've added, I have that windscreen that you can see on this one. It just helps deflect some of the airflow. Not that it's very bad anyways, because the front of the Vespa is obviously designed to deflect a lot of air naturally. You also can have what are they called? Like a liner, almost like a bed liner, but a reserve liner that ensures you don't get mud and debris or store water down at the bottom of the footrests, which given the design of the scooter are just kind of integrated into the body. You also can have an additional wraparound kind of body protection, which I've added so that if you were to...
All the little stones that kick up and everything.
Yeah, well, and also I do have an extended mud flap that I've added on. Trying to think what else. I think that's the main things. I may have a couple little accessories. Oh yeah, I do have an accessory so that if I want to keep my phone on my Vespa, you can actually mount it directly to the mirror arms, if you will. So there's just little things, but
it's tricked out.
It is. Very, very nice though, and as
and I have a little video that will show too. And it was funny when I was getting this ready, there's a moment where we take off, and just hearing that little engine, I laughed in the video, and it made me like, oh my god, I miss it, because we haven't gone out at all this season.
Well, I got a huge ride.
You did. This is
I
true.
did.
I did.
And I've taken it out just for fun. But Tamara is bringing up a good point. Remember, a Vespa, and particularly the Piaggio line of them, they are automatics. So their entire design, all through their well, not all through their history. There was a time, I guess, where they were shift models. But your more modern Vespas, they are an automatic. So you just have one turn that has all the power. You don't shift through your respective gears. So what it allows you to do is just kind of relax on your ride. There's less to focus in on, less to take your attention away from your ride. And what I've found is that experience I don't care what we've done during the workday, and we have very intense day-to-day experiences because of our work. We have long weeks. If you're kind of just out of it and maybe a little just kind of disinterested with life, go get on the Vespa,
Yeah.
do an hour ride, and I
Instant
don't
happy.
care. You come back
Instant
necessarily feeling better. And I'm not taking anything away from motorcyclists whatsoever. I actually would like to get a motorcycle myself. But
12-year-old.
yes, I have been restrained slightly, and so I'm not getting one at this point. But regardless, I'm deeply sympathetic to motorcycle riders just generally when I did the motorcycle safety course, because it's something you can do here in Virginia. I highly recommend. Like anything, get trained. Make sure you know what you're doing when you're getting onto a motorcycle or a powerful scooter like this, because you're moving and you don't have that cushion around you that you might necessarily in a car. So your kind of commitment when you're out riding is much higher because the risks are much higher if there's any issues. So go and get the training. But my point is that in getting the training, we actually learned on a motorcycle. There are motorcycle safety courses that do teach you about not just scooters, but if you're into three-wheel trikes, things like that, you can go and get a course that's particular to what you're going to be riding.
And you need a motorcycle license in order to ride
You do.
one of this. Now, the whole DUI thing where you're like, well, you can ride this, that has nothing to do with it. You still have to have a motorcycle license.
Not on the 50cc.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's why
So
people
they're
like
small
them.
enough that you don't
Yeah.
even have to have a driver's license.
No, nothing. So yeah, there are some low-powered scooters that if you're in need, something to consider. Hopefully, you're never in that position though. But either way, my main point is that I fell in love with the motorcycle side because I went through the motorcycle safety course. Because in our region, there weren't kind of options. You just learned on a motorcycle. So that's actually what captured me. I never really thought I would end up interested in motorcycles until I did that course. And really kind of the difference, and I've got a couple pictures illustrative of this. But on a motorcycle, you can really just muscle down and you have a degree of control because of the bigger wheels, because of how you set up your bike, the way in which you set up your handlebars. There's a lot of ways to allow you to have a much more nimble ride than you might necessarily experience on a scooter. But that assumes you want that experience. Here where we're at, kind of cruising, and here I'll actually kind of give you a sense now. Cruising on a scooter, and this is just kind of an action shot. You can see you sit in a very kind of interesting posture, and you sit high. You're 31, 32 inches up as far as your seat height. You can see the guy's legs are just kind of splayed open. He's not kind of having to grip the bike or keep his knees in close. Kind of a hybrid between different types of motorcycles, but at least on the scooter, you just kind of, the only way I really think of it is it's almost like a slalom sense.
A sway.
Meaning, yeah, you're just swaying through. It's very relaxed. Not aggressive is really the only way, which is at odds with a lot of my personal temperament.
But not mine.
But not Tamara's. So for her, having me kind of constrained because of the nature of the ride itself allows her to relax. When
It allows
she's
him to relax too.
yeah,
For
allows
as
me.
part
I
of
don't
this.
have some death
to not
grip.
be like, which we're doing
Well-
all day anyways. This is the moments to slow
Sure.
and to zen and relax.
Yeah, but the death grip into my ribs. I can always tell
When he's
if I'm
starting to go
going
too
a little
fast.
too fast, my ribs start to cave in because she's gripping me and pulling me into it. I take that as a cue. I ignore it a lot of the time, but regardless, at least gives me a sense. But that happens rarely because, again, the experience is one that is so innately relaxing. Now, this I will show briefly. This is kind of the what you would call classic look. It doesn't matter if you've got an old,
pretty.
a new, that, obviously the modern headlights are, they're LEDs, but seeing that Piaggio label, seeing that Vespa on the front with those classic handlebar look,
Something
it's
out of an Italian countryside.
it does, but for me, it was kind of an early sense of independence. Being able as a young person to be able to cruise around town, even though I may do it with just a friend or two. Maybe there would be a couple of us if somebody else had their own Vespa as well, and I was riding with them, or somebody was letting me ride. It's just one of those kind of defining things that kind of, in a way, for me, it was more important to have the experience with the Vespa than I did with the automobile, because the automobile, especially in a city, there's so much more of a commitment. Where you're going to park. You're kind of detached in a way from your environment every time you get into it. Whereas being on a scooter, you pull right up to whatever building, you kick out the kickstand, run in, pile right back out, tear off the sidewalk, and hit the street, and you're cutting between traffic, potentially running lights. There's things that you just do that, I don't know, for some reason the scooter experience and the scooter life, in a way, you just feel much more empowered. You're not having to wait around for the lights and the traffic and okay, you pull up next. You're living your town in a very different way when you have the opportunity to see it from a scooter landscape. So it's just one of those things that once that kind of gets etched into you, and the freedom, like I said, is very important, especially as a young person.
Sure.
It never left me. Now, amazingly, it took me till I was in my early 40s before I could afford to, throw down for a scooter. But I got the scooter I wanted, and that's the best part. And I think the real feature is it was everything that I wanted it to be. It allowed me to kind of have an experience with my wife that, is very unique, something that we just couldn't readily do. We drive all over the place. But again, a car, you're per se in this little bubble detached from your environment. Whereas you're out riding, and this goes whether you're into scooters, motorcycles, the sensory experience is just
The
so vivid. You
smells.
smell the going from one turn into the next, the moisture in the air,
The warm air to the cold air,
Yeah.
just from one little area to the next.
the smells. Whether you smell a carcass on the road or a bunch of fresh flowers, you're
Fresh clover.
there in your environment in a way that's I think exhilarating.
Yeah.
Uh,
Play the video.
Yeah, I will. But I'm going to transition into that. This is my little thing. So, because, as I said before, we are in a destination place. We don't have to go somewhere far away. The Vespa's perfect. The range, the power associated with it. We're not known for our big straightaway runs. We're known for our curvy mountain passes that are just stunning, because you get up on a hillside around here and what you see around you. Just
Breathtaking.
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 And as a little tidbit, and Tamra acknowledges this, the video is just the video. We didn't enhance anything. The colors you see, the vividness of the mountains, the vividness of the
me
skies.
on the back with
Yeah.
my phone going like this.
Yeah.
So forgive the little bumps, but that
Yeah, this is the
is what it
beauty.
is. It's
This is the beauty of the region. So let
Paradise.
me go ahead and get over to that, and yeah, let's check this out.
Valley?
Yeah.
Okay.